The Golden State Warriors stand at a critical point in their storied history. For nearly a decade, the trio of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green defined excellence, bringing home multiple championships and altering how basketball is played around the world. But dynasties never last forever. Today, as the 2025 NBA season looms, the question facing Golden State is not only whether they can remain competitive but also how they should shape their roster for the years to come. At the center of that debate is one name, Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga's story begins thousands of miles away from the NBA's global spotlight. Born in Goma, Democratic Republic of Congo, Kuminga was introduced to basketball in a country where resources were scarce but dreams were limitless. His journey to the United States as a teenager was fueled by ambition. He quickly turned heads with his size, athleticism, and versatility, rising through high school ranks and becoming one of the top recruits in the nation. When he declared for the 2021 NBA draft, scouts praised his raw potential. Some called him a future all-star. Others saw a development project. For the Warriors, selecting him 7th overall was both a gamble and a promise. They believed Kuminga could grow under the mentorship of Curry, Thompson, and Green, eventually taking the torch when the dynasty era ended. Kuminga's rookie season showcased flashes of brilliance, thunderous dunks, moments of suffocating defense, and a confidence that belied his age. But it also exposed growing pains, turnovers, lapses in focus, and struggles with consistency. Under coach Steve Kerr, Kuminga often found himself on the bench during critical stretches. Kerr's system demands discipline, spacing, and unselfish ball movement. Kuminga, on the other hand, thrived with the ball in his hands, attacking in isolation, and running the floor in transition. This clash of styles sparked early debates. Was Kerr holding him back, or was Kuminga simply not ready? By his second and third seasons, the same questions remained. His numbers improved slightly, but his role remained inconsistent. Fans clamored for more playing time, pointing to his efficiency and defensive upside. Analysts, however, wondered if his fit with Golden State was fundamentally flawed. The summer of 2024 marked a turning point. Golden State, eager to capitalize on Curry's remaining prime years, faced tough choices. With an aging roster and expensive contracts, they needed flexibility. Kuminga, still young and valuable, became the centerpiece of trade speculation. Reports linked him to the Sacramento Kings in a possible sign-and-trade. Then came rumors involving the Chicago Bulls. Later, Buddy Hield's name emerged, suggesting that Kuminga could be part of a package to shed salary and bring in immediate help. None of these deals materialized, but the message was clear: Kuminga's future with the Warriors was far from guaranteed. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. inherited a tricky situation. On one hand, Joe Lacob, the team's owner, had been instrumental in drafting Kuminga, believing he could be a star. On the other hand, Dunleavy knew the Warriors couldn't afford to waste time. Every season with Curry was precious. Analysts like Jason Timpf argued the Warriors had already missed their chance to maximize Kuminga's trade value. The time to get a substantial return, they said, was years ago. Now Golden State might have to accept less, perhaps a role player, a salary dump, and maybe a protected draft pick. One of the most persistent rumors connected Kuminga with Buddy Hield. The logic was simple: Hield's contract and inconsistent production made him expendable, while the Warriors sought shooting depth and cap relief. Packaging Kuminga in such a deal could free up flexibility. But would it be enough? Warriors fans scoffed at the idea of trading a 22-year-old athletic forward for a declining shooter. To many, it symbolized short-term thinking, sacrificing potential greatness for mediocrity. Yet to others, it represented pragmatism, doing whatever it takes to keep Curry's championship window open. Beyond the numbers and trade talks lies another layer: chemistry. Warriors veterans often praised Kuminga's work ethic, but there were whispers about frustration, his desire for a larger role, his occasional disengagement when minutes were scarce. Balancing young talent with established stars is never easy, and Golden State has struggled to bridge the generational gap. Draymond Green, the vocal leader, has historically clashed with young players. Kerr has prioritized trust in veterans. Meanwhile, Kuminga's supporters argue that the team risks alienating a future cornerstone. The tension, though subtle, lingers over every Warriors practice, game, and interview. So where does this all lead? If the Warriors keep Kuminga, they must commit to giving him a consistent role, perhaps reshaping parts of the offense to maximize his strengths. Doing so might mean growing pains, but it could also mean grooming their next franchise star. If they trade him, they must accept that the return won't be equal to his upside. But in exchange, they could gain pieces that better complement Curry and push for one last championship run. The question is philosophical. Should Golden State build for the future or fight for the present? And is it possible to do both? As the 2025 season tips off, Jonathan Kuminga embodies both hope and uncertainty. He is the face of potential, yet also the symbol of the Warriors' dilemmas. Whether Golden State chooses to double down on their dynasty or pivot toward a new era, the decisions surrounding Kuminga will shape their destiny. The Golden State Warriors are once again standing at a crossroads, a familiar place for a franchise that has tasted the highest levels of success and endured the painful lows of uncertainty. From their dynasty years led by Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, to the constant reinventions that have kept them relevant in an ever-changing NBA landscape, the Warriors' story has always been about adaptation. And now, as the 2025-26 season looms, the whispers are getting louder. Could this team make one of the boldest moves in basketball history and bring in another global superstar like LeBron James or Giannis Antetokounmpo? To understand how we got here, we need to rewind the clock just a bit. Last season, Golden State made a daring mid-season move by acquiring six-time All-Star Jimmy Butler, adding him to a core with Curry and Green. The vision was clear, a new Big Three, built on toughness, leadership, and experience. For a moment, it looked like the Warriors had struck gold again. Butler brought grit, defense, and a playoff mentality. Curry continued to defy age, dazzling fans with his shooting artistry. The Chase Center buzzed with belief that another title run was brewing. But as fate would have it, Curry's injury in the second round of the playoffs derailed those dreams, leaving fans to wonder if the window was closing. That disappointment has fueled the conversations happening now. The Warriors know their dynasty is not immortal. Curry is still great, but time is undefeated. Draymond remains the emotional core, but his prime years are behind him. Jimmy Butler is aging too, and his intense style often leads to wear and tear. For the Warriors front office, the margin for error is razor thin. And this is where Jonathan Kuminga comes in. Kuminga, once hailed as the future of the franchise, has had a turbulent journey with Golden State. Bursting into the league with explosive athleticism and flashes of two-way brilliance, he represented the bridge between the old dynasty and the new era. But inconsistency, questions about his fit, and a sometimes rocky relationship with the coaching staff have cast doubt on his long-term role. Now, as he nears a new contract, the stakes couldn't be higher. Reports suggest he could sign a deal north of $20 million annually, a figure that not only reflects his potential but also turns him into one of the Warriors' most valuable trade assets. And that's the key. Kuminga's new contract wouldn't just be about securing his services. It would also give the Warriors the financial flexibility to match salaries in a blockbuster trade. Which brings us back to the rumors: LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Imagine, for a moment, LeBron James wearing a Warriors jersey. It sounds like fantasy basketball, but the logic is there. LeBron's relationship with the Lakers has grown complicated. The team has struggled to find consistent success since their 2020 bubble championship, and LeBron, even at age 41 in the story of Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors is one filled with hope, talent, and rising tension. Kuminga arrived in Golden State as a raw but incredibly gifted prospect, drafted 7th overall in the 2021 NBA Draft. He was seen as a future cornerstone, a versatile forward with elite athleticism, defensive potential, and the ability to grow into a star under the mentorship of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. The Warriors believed he could represent the bridge between their championship core and the franchise's future. In his first 2 seasons, Kuminga flashed moments of brilliance. His ability to slash to the rim, defend multiple positions, and bring energy off the bench stood out. Yet, inconsistency and limited playing time created frustration. Steve Kerr, known for trusting veterans, often kept Kuminga's minutes tight, especially in critical playoff games. This decision sparked debate within the Warriors fan base. Was Kerr slowing Kuminga's growth, or was Kuminga not fully ready for the responsibility? By the 2023-24 season, the friction grew louder. Kuminga openly expressed dissatisfaction with his role. Reports surfaced that he felt undervalued and underutilized, especially during stretches where he performed well but still see his minutes cut in favor of veterans. His athletic prime was approaching, and being stuck behind Andrew Wiggins in the rotation only fueled his frustration. For a young player eager to prove himself, it was difficult to accept that his development seemed to be taking a back seat to the Warriors' pursuit of squeezing out every last championship run from their aging core. Meanwhile, the Warriors were at a crossroads. Their dynasty, built on the brilliance of Curry, the defense of Green, and the shooting of Thompson, was showing cracks. Thompson's decline, Green's suspensions, and Curry shouldering too much of the offensive load highlighted the urgent need for youth. Kuminga represented that injection of energy, but the question remained, was Kerr willing to trust him fully? And was Kuminga patient enough to wait? Tensions escalated when reports suggested Kuminga's camp was considering his long-term future. His agent hinted that if his role didn't expand, he could explore opportunities elsewhere. Rival teams circled, knowing his talent could flourish in a system built around him. The Warriors, however, were torn. Trading Kuminga could bring in win-now pieces, but losing him could also mean giving away their future cornerstone. The 2024-25 season has only intensified these questions. Kuminga's performances have been more polished. His shot selection has improved, his defense more disciplined, and his confidence undeniable. Yet, the inconsistency of his minutes remains a storyline. Warriors fans argue that Kuminga should already be the second option behind Curry, while others believe Kerr's tough love is preparing him for bigger responsibilities. Still, every game where Kuminga shines but sits late in the fourth quarter adds fuel to the controversy. The Warriors' struggles this season have made Kuminga's situation even more critical. With the team battling in a competitive Western Conference, every decision feels magnified. If Golden State leans too heavily on veterans, they risk alienating Kuminga. If they hand the keys to him too early, they risk mistakes that could cost them games. It is a delicate balance, and so far, it has left both sides unsatisfied. For Kuminga, the pressure is real. He knows the NBA is about opportunity, and windows don't last forever. Every year he sits behind veterans is a year lost in proving he can be an all-star. For the Warriors, the dilemma is equally sharp. Can they transition smoothly from the Curry era to a future led by Kuminga, or will they mismanage the situation and see him thrive somewhere else? The narrative now seems to be heading toward an eventual split. Unless something drastically changes in Kerr's rotations or the Warriors shift their philosophy, Kuminga's desire for a bigger role may push him to another team. And if that happens, it will mark a dramatic turning point, not just for Kuminga's career, but for the Warriors' dynasty. Losing him would symbolize the struggle Golden State has faced in trying to win now while building for the future. For now, Kuminga remains in a complex position, too talented to ignore, too ambitious to wait, and too vital for the Warriors to easily trade away. His story with Golden State continues, but the ending feels uncertain. Will he be the torchbearer of the next Warriors era, or will he become the star that slipped through their hands? Jonathan Kuminga's story with the Golden State Warriors is one of both promise and tension. Drafted in 2021 as the 7th overall pick, he arrived with the reputation of being one of the most athletic and explosive forwards of his class. The Warriors, then fresh off years of championship dominance, saw him as the bridge between their aging dynasty and a new generation. But 4 seasons later, instead of blossoming into the face of the franchise, Kuminga now finds himself described by insiders as absolutely miserable in Golden State. His frustrations with limited playing time, inconsistent trust from the coaching staff, and stalled contract negotiations have brought the relationship to a breaking point. This script explores, in detail, the issues tearing both sides apart, and why separation now feels inevitable. When Kuminga first joined the Warriors, expectations were high. His athleticism, defensive potential, and flashes of scoring made him a tantalizing prospect. Yet, playing on a team led by Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green meant minutes were scarce. Head coach Steve Kerr prioritized veterans who understood his complex motion offense and defensive schemes. Kuminga's minutes often fluctuated wildly. He could play 30 minutes one night and sit on the bench the next. For a young player trying to build confidence, this inconsistency became a major source of frustration. Still, he accepted his role early on, believing patience would pay off. But as the seasons rolled by, the patience began to wear thin. Despite these struggles, Kuminga delivered undeniable moments of brilliance. During the 2024-25 regular season, he averaged 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists in about 47 games, even after missing 2 months with an ankle injury.